Hello, groovy chums of the world. It's me, Jules, and doing my second live stream of 2021. You're very welcome to join me for a really nice chill out, draw with me session. And I'm actually going to be doing some painting today. So I'm just going to have a little fiddle around, make sure everything's working all right. If you guys would like to just say that you can see everything in the chat and that it's all working okay. I'm just going to leave a little message for everyone. Hi everyone. There we go. Right, that's in the chat, so say hi back to me. Now, as you can see, this is not my studio. I'm coming to you from my kitchen, from my house today, because my studio is freezing and it's quite expensive to keep heating it. So I've decided to lock, stock and barrel move up to the kitchen for the time being, just for a little while. And I think that was a really good move because this weekend, in fact, as of tonight, we're due a big old snowy storm, and I think we're going to be getting up to about 2 centimetres of snow. I know. We don't really get very much snow on the Isle of Wight. So this is I'm coming from an island off the south coast of England, and called the Isle of Wight. And it's not a tiny little island. It's about 25 miles east to west and about 12 miles north to south. And there's about 100,000 people here. So it's a pretty metropolitan kind of island environment. But because we are surrounded by sea, don't get much of the white stuff. So it has been forecast that possibly tonight we might get some snow. Anyway, the upshot of it is it's really cold outside and it's really cold in the studio. So I have moved here for the time being. So you might at some point get a little view of a dog wandering around the back, possibly. But what I wanted to do today, so I was thinking about what to do for this month. And I decided that, well, I've been practicing a bit of meditation. Now, if you have got through this pandemic without too much in the way of worries or anxiety or depression, then frankly you're amazing, because I think most of the people who I know have had problems in one way or another like that. And I've actually sort of pandemic wise been reasonably okay. It's other things that have caused me to feel a bit panicky at times and a bit anxious. So I decided to try and up my meditation game, and my phone came with an app on it called Headspace. So I've been doing a bit more Headspace recently, and that's really helped. But one of the things that is difficult, I don't know if you've ever tried meditating, please do say in the chat if you have any fab ideas. But one of the things that I find quite tricky is when I'm just trying to concentrate and note my breathing, is I do wander off and my brain goes and does, shopping lists and stuff. So what I've been doing, I've been having this view in my head that keeps popping up, and that is of a field that I know quite well, that I used to camp in with my family in a big group of home educators that we used to go up to a forest nearby, and there's a field there where we could camp. And anyway, I kind of think of myself in this field when it's about late May, early June, and the grass is quite high, but it's not boiling hot. And I think about myself, and as I'm breathing in kind of sunshine, nice warmth. And then when I'm breathing out, I think about the long grass and how even just a tiny bit of breath kind of makes that grass move just very slightly. So that's kind of what I had in mind when I was thinking about this drawing, this painting that we're going to do today. So I shall take you through. I'm just going to switch off of my webcam and go over to my other camera. I'm going to switch the light on as well so you can see a bit better. So this is watercolour paper, and it's I think it's the £140 thickness, so it's a pretty decent thickness. But I've stuck it down to a board with this tape that you get for specifically for this kind of watercolour painting. And I've sort of stretched the paper as well, a little bit, but it is still a little bit bubbly in places. And because I wanted to be able to crack on with this with you today, I've actually given it already a layer of blue that's dried on. So this was a couple of days ago. And this stuff, I don't know if you saw my little video I did earlier in the week, is masking fluid. And this is the masking fluid that I've used, Mask Pen. And it's got this little, you take the top bit off, thus, and it's just got this little kind of like, almost like a hypodermic needle on the end. So you squeeze all that masking fluid out so that you can protect the paper, and that will then stay white underneath there. When it's all dry and we've rubbed it all off, then it should be white. So I've left these areas, because these are going to be daisies, and I've also left this one as well, although I might actually rub that one off sooner than these ones, because I don't really want that to be white. That's a sort of grass head. And I've got a variety of brushes. I'm probably going to be using this one the most, which is the one I used last time. It's an 8, size 8, and possibly this little skinny job there. I've also got some water-soluble pencils in blue and green. I've got 2 pots of water, one for washing my brush out, one for having a clean brush if I want to mix any paint. I've got my pans of watercolour paint and spray bottle, so that I'm going to actually spray this to wet it all up. And I might use my spray bottle on my paper as well. I've got some discs of cotton wool. What else have I got? Oh, I've got my hairdryer as well, just in case I need to dry stuff quickly. And I've also got these pastels. These are chalk pastels, semi-soft it says. Now this is an heirloom, because I inherited this from my dad when my dad passed away 11 years ago now. I inherited all of his art materials, which is fantastic, because he was a very competent, reasonably well-known artist, and he had loads of really nice materials. So these, actually, they're from Paris, and I think, I'm right in saying, I think he bought these when he and my mum went on their honeymoon in 1950 something or the other. So it's really nice to be able to use those, and I do really like using pastels with watercolour and mixing them together. So let's get cracking. I think the first thing I'm probably going to do is wet the paper a bit. So I'm sorry about this, where is it, this shadow. There's not much I can do about that. It's the leg of my my tripod. Right, I'm going to wet it. Actually, what I will do, because I don't really want any paint going into this area here, which is the sun. So I'm going to hide that with a piece of cotton wool there, and I'm just going to wet the rest of the paper just a smidge. Okay, I can take that away now. And I think what I'm going to do first is just mix up a few greens. If I put this over here, will you be able to see it? No, you won't. I'm going to keep it over here. So it's just a few greens here. And I wanted it to be a sort of, I wanted it to curve round a little bit, if that makes sense. so almost towards the sun. I'm not sure if that light's really helping, actually. Let's see what it looks like without it. Oh, that's a little bit better, actually, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, you can see that a bit better now. So what I'm doing is just these sort of background areas, I'm just giving that a little bit of greeny bluiness because these bits of grass are fading into the background a bit. This brush is great actually because it's got a really fine tip to it. You see that? And it's great for making those sorts of marks. Grass marks. We've got a bit of a puddle going on there. We don't want puddles. No, thank you. I might just dispatch that puddle. That's better. So I am actually holding my brush really far up, and that gives you less control, which is actually exactly what I want. Adding a little bit of blue as well, because that way I just wanted this to be a really bluey, blue-green picture because that's how I saw it in my head. I might actually put a little bit more blue up the top there. When you're painting, it's a really fine line between making it look better and totally messing it up, which obviously we don't want to do. Anyway, how are you guys? Let me know. Let me know in the comments how you're doing and how you're coping with things. In the UK, we are now 6 weeks, is it, into lockdown, number 3, I think. Boxing Day, we went into, was it Boxing Day? Day after Boxing Day. We went into, oh no, I beg your pardon. It was the day after the kids went back to school. That's right. Day after the kids went back to school, which was the 4th of January, our esteemed Prime Minister Bojo came onto national television in his address to the nation and said we were going back into lockdown again, which I actually think was the right thing, and I think, you know, he was a bit behind the game, really, if anything. Because things were going horribly wrong, and you've probably heard about this UK variant that started in Kent, and or you know, that's where it was first picked up. I'm not blaming the people of Kent. And it was, you know, I think most people could see that was where it was heading. But they sent the kids back to school for one day after the Christmas hollybobs, and then everything ground to a halt again. So I think, you know, that I was having a conversation with somebody this morning about how difficult it has been for certain members of our society. So if you put, I mean, obviously people who are grieving or who've been very sick, you know, that it's been awful for people who have going through that sort of thing. But I think that probably the next trickiest group to try and help really are the younger people. So anyone who started uni, and you know, children at school, teenagers, I just think it's been just the worst time for those guys, because you know what it's like as a teen. You just want to be out with your mates. You don't want to be stuck home with your parents. You want to be out there doing your own thing, you know, and unfortunately they have not been able to do that, so it's been very, very tricky. My heart really does go out to people who've been, you know, who've had that kind of experience. Okay, now I'm going to put a little ploppette of pink. Where am I going to do it? So I'm going to have, I'll just show you quickly what my reference materials were. So we've got there the beginnings of cow parsley, I think, that yellow thing in the middle, and some, what are those pink flowers called? Can't remember. And anyway, I'm thinking long grass, kind of like that, with seed heads. But I would really like to add a bit of that pink in amongst here somewhere. So the cow parsley is actually going to be over here. I've got daisies here. I think I'm going to do some, I might do my pink thing sort of here. Flying by the seat of our pants. Right, here we go. This is the thing with both painting, but painting live just kind of doubles and triples that effect of this could just go horribly wrong. But don't worry, we're going to rescue it if it does, like just removing that little bit there. And then when I come to, this is just a little drop of water, when I come to add to it, then it'll look more flower-like, I think. So I'm going to go back in with, it's starting to dry, so now I can make a few more marks. Let's try that. So there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So I did do a prep picture of this, which is a bit like Kiss of Death, really, because once you've done a picture once, you can never recreate it. So I didn't go too far with it because I didn't want to make the picture and then fail to make the picture when I was doing it for real, because that would just ruin my day. No, it wouldn't really. Talking of ruining your day, the video that I made this week, I just had a really good feeling about it, that it was going to hit a note with a lot of people, and I think it has done. It was about feeling embarrassed about showing your work, and I don't feel embarrassed now about showing my work, but I definitely, when I first started, found it difficult because I didn't know what other people were going to think and what they might say. Was my work rubbish? You know, I went to uni with some really, really talented, seemingly naturally talented people. There was a guy who, I remember, he was in the year above me, who was absolutely amazing at airbrush technique. I mean, he was just fantastic. I don't know if he could do anything else. Never really found out, but he was really brilliant at airbrushing. And this was before you could airbrush really easily on Photoshop. This was literally getting an airbrush like they airbrush things in car paint shops, you know. Yeah, he was very, very good at that. Right, I'm just going to go in there with a bit of yellow. And also there's a guy called Chris, who when I was at Exeter doing my BA, Bachelor of Arts, and he was really good as well. With different, just seemed to be really good at painting, drawing, any mark he made on a bit of paper was just awesome. So if you're surrounded by people like that, it can be a little bit daunting. But in the video that I put together for this week, I've made some cures for having that sort of feeling when you're feeling humiliated or worried or embarrassed. I've got some cures for that sort of thing. So go over when we're all done here, go and have a look at that. It's called Embarrassed About Showing My Art, or Embarrassed About My Art, I think it is. So I'm not embarrassed about my own art. I had somebody who very kindly said, you know, you shouldn't be embarrassed about your art, and I'm not now. Having said that, I did, in the video, I do talk about how I'd written an adult novel. In fact, I've written a young adult and an adult. And that, I don't mean adult in the sense of it being risque, but it was a long book, a long story that was meant for an older age group. And yeah, I'm glad that's never seen the light of day. Looking back at it now, at the time I thought it was, you know, I was going to be appearing on Radio 4's book club or something with it, but no. Sadly not. Okay, I'm gonna go all out with some of my chalk pastels, I think. I clearly like using this one because half of it has disappeared, so let's see what colour that looks like. And once this goes onto wet paper, you know, really, anything could happen. Okay, I'm going to find another colour. Ooh, come on now. And the thing about this is you can, with a clean wet brush, then go in and use some water on that, and it kind of melts that colour a little bit. It does just, I don't know, blends it a bit, which I like. Frankly, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it, would I? Okay, another colour. This one's more of a apple green, maybe? There's that clean brush again, and I have used it quite a lot in one of my books called Wally and Bert. I used this technique a lot in that book, so if you want to see it in action properly, go and have a look at that book. So I think what I might do now is just use my hairdryer to dry it off a little bit so I can put a bit more detail in. So put your fingers in your ears for a minute because this might be quite loud. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down my audio so that I don't blast your eardrums. Okay, we're back. So I'm just going to a little teensy blast with the hairdryer, and I also blew away loads of bits of paper and stuff as I did that, so thanks, that's helpful, hairdryer. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more detail in now that we've got it dry, and again holding my paintbrush quite far down. What you can do is, once you've made your mark, and drop some water into it, see what happens. Make some quite nice effects. So I need to tackle this area. And I'm going to tackle it, not like a rugby player, but like an artist, with a skinny brush. And again, holding the paintbrush quite far down. If you're new to painting and drawing, you might think what you need to do is hold it like that so that you've got more control. But actually, I think when you're doing a sort of observational piece like this, is you need less control, because it kind of gives it a bit more of a energetic feel. Does that? I'm not sure if that really makes sense, but that's kind of how I would approach it anyway. And then those little, now they're yellow, aren't they, on that photo? So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to my green. I think this is cadmium yellow I've got. And I don't, because it's going to be a blue and green painting, I don't want it to be as bright yellow as the centre of the daisies. And actually what I might do when this is dry is I might go back in with the pencil and just give it a little bit more detail. Okay, yeah, that would definitely need a little bit more detail because it's a bit blending into the background just a little bit too much at the moment. Okay, so now what we do need is, underneath the daisies, they need that sort of that part, the sort of bulbous part underneath that from whence the flower comes, and then the stalk as well. And what I'll have to do is I will have to let this dry properly before I can rub off the masking fluid, otherwise I'm going to be left with a hideous mess. And that was not my aim. So what I will do is I'll do as much as I can here, and then when I've completed it, I'll photograph it and post it. Either I'll do it as a post, so keep your eyes peeled for posts, and I'll show you the finished piece. I'm just going to have a look at the chat. Hello Melissa, thank you very much, and hello Manga Demonoid. How are you this month? How are you both doing? Okay. So I used to have a Facebook page that was, in fact, it's still there, which was about, instead of having forecasts of the weather, it was a review. It's called Mariner Review of the Weather, because I thought at sometimes, you know, it's easy to forecast the weather. You know, you can look on the BBC website for that. Anyone could do that. I don't really mean that. But what people don't seem to do is review the weather. So I shall be reviewing this weekend's weather, I should think, at some point. I haven't done much to that page for quite a while, just because I've been busy doing other things, but it was excellent fun doing it. Oh good, I'm glad you're well, Melissa. And it's the weekend, it's Saturday, woohoo! So in case you missed last month's, my intention for these live streams is that the first Saturday of every month I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm going to choose something to do a picture of, or paint, or draw, or something, some sort of, usually it's probably more likely to be observational than my usual stuff of more sort of quirky, cartoony stuff that I use for when I'm illustrating books and that sort of thing. Because the reason for doing this was really more to do with chilling out and, you know, having a kind of mental health moment, and hopefully helping you as well to enjoy watching a bit of painting or painting along with me, so that we feel like we're part of something together. Because it's, you know, a lot of people, if you're in lockdown, you know, a lot of people live on their own, so it's nice to actually get together with somebody else and do something similar. I mean, you don't have to be painting, you could be doing a jigsaw, or crocheting, or baking a cake. I don't mind. I don't mind. Oh, hello. That was a nice little stroke. Okay, I'm mixing together what actually I'm going to mix together live on YouTube. I'm going to mix a green. So what I'm going to do is take some of that. I'm going to get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. There's my bit of paper gone. And I'm going to use, because all of this is a very similar sort of tone at the moment. I'm going to use some of that blue, and I'm going to use a bit of ochre. So this one's ochre. Let's see what it looks like. That's quite navy bluish, isn't it? Okay, clean brush. I'm going to go into the that sort of brighter yellow. Pick up a bit of that. What's this one? Ah, there we go. There we go. Okay, holding the brush by the end. It's there. It's quite yellowy, isn't it? Alright, let's have a little bit more of that. Okay, so I'm going to need a little stalk for under here. And now that, the thing to do when you're trying to gauge whether or not your paint has dried is if you tilt your head down so that you're very close to your painting and just look at it sort of sideways, you can see where the where the water is, because it'll shine a bit. So that's now my pink flower. I can't remember the name of it. What was it? I had blue ones for when I got married in all my flowers. Oh, I can't remember. Right, so this is just that magenta colour, pretty much. Neat. I'm just going to do some little squiggles because the petals on this are really kind of squiggly. They've got a lot of texture. Okay. Very, very nice. So I think I'm going to have a go on my green pencils. Now, if you were to see my pencil case that's got probably a couple of hundred water-soluble pencils in, the greens are by far the most common occurrence. So that's some of them. And these are all water-soluble. Some of them are Derwent. Some of them are... Oh, I've got no idea what that one... Oh, there we go. Supra colour. Caran-d'Ache. So Caran-d'Ache or the Derwent I think I've got. What's this one? That's Caran-d'Ache as well. Right, so I'm going to use these, and they, whilst the paper is still damp, they do sort of give off a bit more of their pigment. And you can even dip them into some water first, like that, and then use them, because that will then, it dissolves the pigment a little bit before you even start then. Let's go with this one, which is a more sagey kind of colour. And the grass is going in my head, the grass is going all in different directions, because I like to think about little creatures that are tiptoeing around. So even their movements are making a little bit of the grass move. It's a bit like that thing, you know, when they say a butterfly claps its wings and something happens in China. An earthquake? I don't know. It's that kind of thought, really, that even your breath, you breathing out, has a teeny tiny effect on the world, on the environment around you. So even if you're just sitting in a field and you breathe out, then you might have an effect on the grass around you, maybe the animals around you, maybe there's an ant nearby, thinks it's a hurricane, who knows? Right, looking at the chat. Hello, Nola. That's nice. It's much easier to say than manga demonoid. So yes, thank you, Nola. I will call you that. So what does Saturday hold for you normally? What are you normally getting up to? Anything exciting? Because we've got this beast from the east coming, which is the excitable terminology that sometimes our weather people use when it's an easterly wind and it's going to be cold. It's the beast from the east. Anyway, we've got this storm coming that's quite possibly going to give us a minuscule amount of snow. Obviously I had to go out and buy a couple of bags of wood and enough supplies to keep us going. Me and my family, that's my husband, my two big children, not really children any longer, and the two dogs, you know, because, well, you just don't know what's going to happen. 2 centimetres of snow could be devastating. Okay, if you live in, you know, Iceland or northern Canada or, you know, the Andes, you might think 2 centimetres is a very minimal amount. Okay, I get it. I'm joking. Now, I'm gonna actually, I need to do something with the sun because at the moment it's a big gaping hole. Just wondering. Okay, I wondered and I have decided. So I'm going to use my yellow chalk and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a skinny kind of like a C shape, C letter, not C as in what you'd swim in. And then I'm going to, with a clean brush, and pick up a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to exaggerate that slightly. And then I think I'm going to actually just allow that to, I don't want it to have a definite rim edge to it. I want it to, because I want it to kind of spread because it's not the focus of the picture. Okay, back into my daisies, and I'm just going to give them a little bit of a darker edge because they need a little bit of shadow. Do you know what I really wish I'd done before I started was to clean these bits, or these bits, or both, because I am running out of space. So this is just ochre. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of shadow. I'm going to put a tiny bit of umber in with that as well. Umber, not Umbridge. As in Professor Umbridge. Umber. Which is more browny. Like that. Just to show where the light and shade is on it. And the question is, do I need to do anything else to the grass? What is the answer? Ah, Melissa says she's just had 2 feet of snow. Wow, okay. Well, that puts my 2 centimetres into the garbage bin. I'm not even, to be honest, I'm not even sure we're going to get 2 centimetres. Like I said before, we hardly ever get snow. So, let's see, shall we? Let's see what happens. I'm just wondering, I feel like I don't want to overwork the grass. That would be a mistake. But I feel like I need to do something a bit more in the foreground. Let's just go for it. Over those white bits that I've kind of left. You know how what it does sometimes is it grass kind of, as it's growing up, it kind of flips over, doesn't it? Like that. That's what that bit's doing. And then I'm going to do another one over this side as well. Yes, like that. It'll be lovely when springtime comes and we get to enjoy these meadow grasslands again. I'm really looking forward to that. So I love spring, I love summer, I quite like autumn. Not a massive fan of winter, to be completely honest. And that's more to do with, I don't really like the cold very much, but that's more to do with the lack of light, actually. I find as an illustrator, light is so important to me. And I do have one of those lights that you use if you've got seasonal affective disorder that does natural daylight. I do have one of those. And I do get out and use as much light as possible. But it's not the same as having, I don't know, there's something different. There's a real different quality to the light when it's coming in from at such a low angle. Okay, I'm going in with, this is just a microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to rub off this bit of the masking tape. Partly see what's underneath, and partly because I need to paint that. Here we go. And of course the trouble is it does remove a little bit of the paper, which is not ideal. Just doing this really carefully as possible, and it has taken away a bit of that paper, that surface, which is naughty because it's not supposed to do that. Never mind. Right, so let's have a look at that other picture that we had. Let's take away that one. So I'm just thinking about these little seed heads, and I think they're going to have to be a kind of green because of the tones of the overall painting, rather than them being, because on that picture on the screen they're kind of purpley pink, aren't they? So I'm just very carefully giving it a bit of seed love. I think I'm going to put a little bit of really dark sort of French ultramarine blue just in some parts of it. Don't want to go too mad. Just to give it a little bit of texture and light and shade. So I wonder what's going to happen when I rub out the petals. Am I going to have the same problem? I hope not. Really hope not. Who knows? We'll find out when I eventually, when it's all dried properly, give it a go. And then just on a few of these areas, I'm just going to be highlighting the lowlights to show where the shade is on these. And it also, by picking out certain things, it kind of gives it a bit more focus as well. It's like when you're painting something, it's kind of like you're the film director. You are or you can pick what you want your audience to look at, because you can either highlight things, or you can give it a lot of darkness, a lot of dark tone, and in doing so you can make your viewers' eyes go in that particular direction that you want them to go in. So, have a look at the old chat. Nola says, she's not doing anything, working, I'm going home soon for vacation. Ooh. Oh, you've just got 1 foot of snow. Oh. Do you know, talking about the light, that's the best thing about when it snows, is because it bounces all that light up and around. That is, yeah, definitely one of the benefits of snow. Okay. Now, have I got any white? Yes, I have. So just a bit of white pastel here, and I'm going to just try giving that a little bit of highlight in just a few little areas. Maybe a bit on these yellow seed heads. Coolio. And when you're doing a painting like this, you need to think about starting in the background and painting forward in layers almost, because that way you can the furthest away bits of grass, when I paint the next layer over it, doesn't matter that it forms over the top of it, because that's what your eye does. That's what you need to sort of recreate almost. Aha! Now, because this is quite skinny little bits, it's coming off a bit easier, which is great news, without tearing the paper too much. Yeah, what I might do, because it hasn't got a hugely dark colour around it, this one in particular, what I might do is just give it a little bit more green behind. Just like that. Then that will show up the white colour a bit better. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'll come back to it when it's dry and wipe off all of those that masking fluid. I'll do it nice and carefully so that we can have a look and see how it's ended up. So if you feel like you need to do something to kind of take your mind off of things that are going on, then I would highly recommend doing something creative a go, because I think it really takes your mind. Even if you're got a colouring book and you're doing some colouring, it really just takes your mind off of whatever it is that you're worrying about just for a few minutes, and it really helps you to combat that feeling. Definitely does for me anyway. I mean, I know it's my job to do this, so I've trained to do this, and some people might say, well, it's easy for you to say because you could draw, but actually it's not really about that. It's about finding something that makes your brain stop working overtime and just calms you down a bit. So this calms me down. It might be for you, it might be something else. It might be baking or juggling bananas. I don't know, walking the dog. I don't know, but whatever it is, if you can do it and join me whilst you're doing it, then I say good on you. Let's make a little gang of us that does this together every month. So like I say, it's going to be the first Saturday of every month, around about, well, at the moment it's around about 3 o'clock GMT because of the light. By next month, beginning of March, with any luck, I might be able to make it a little bit later. So for people who are west of me, it won't be Sparrow's bottom o'clock in the morning for you. Yeah, we might try 4 o'clock next month, beginning of March. Just going to say hi to everyone in the chat. So, Susie, Art. Oh, that's really nice. Hello. Yeah, you're drawing your little dog Lottie. Well, I'm in my kitchen today. I'm not normally in my kitchen. I'm normally in my studio, but it's too cold down there. And I did think I was going to get interrupted by an interrupting dog, but nothing so far. They must be still asleep. Who knows? So from my kitchen, and for now, I'm going to wrap it up and see you guys next month. Don't forget, check out the embarrassment video. That was good fun to make, and I didn't think it was going to be that much fun, but it was a lot of fun actually. Yeah, and we'll see what's happening on next week. I'm going to be shooting dragons. Not shooting dragons. I'm not going to be shooting dragons. I'm going to be filming myself drawing dragons. And what was the other thing I'm doing? Can't remember. Maybe it was a video about getting a better memory. That would probably help. But anyway, for now, I will say thank you so much for joining me. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. Breathe and do your art or your creative thing, whatever you're doing. And I will see you next month, apart from every Friday when I will be appearing in some sort of ridiculous video. So I'll see you then. Bye!